We got the dynamic duo, we got the 3 Batgirls, we got some great independent comics, and of course we got some Spider-Man and the second issue of the Hulk. All this and more on this week's episode of After the Poll. Hey, all my webheads out there, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, I am your host, Mike Spider Slayer, always helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, and today, guys, I'm bringing you another episode of After the Poll. This is the video series where I take some of my most highly anticipated comic books that I am looking forward to reading, and I share with you if they live up to the hype. Should you pass it up? Should you pick it up? Well, we're gonna find out this week. So before we get started, guys, I just want to give you a little information about Mutant Beaver Comics.com. Guys, they have over 1,000 exclusive variant covers in their store. They provide the best in customer service and worldwide shipping. You guys will not be disappointed. If you use the promo code CORNER10, you can save 10% off of your entire purchase. And if you order in the future, you can use that same promo code. So why don't you capitalize on that 10% today and pick up some of those awesome exclusives? I'll leave you the link in the description box below. Okay, guys, so here we go. Let's kick off this episode of After the Poll. So the first book that we're going to be talking about today, guys, is issue 4 of Primordial. This book has been nothing short of stellar. Yeah, it's been so good. Let me just tell you. Jeff Lemire is just hitting it out of the park. Anything that he's writing right now, it's just been so well written, and I get so immersed into his stories. Now, even though there's not a lot of dialogue in this actual story, Andrea Sorrentino makes you care about the dog Laika and the apes that have gotten lost in space during the space race, and they're trying to find a way home. The artwork in this book is really well done. He always does phenomenal panel work, and that's what I love about it. And he really shows the animals' emotions through their face, and you can't help but feel for these animals as they get lost in space trying to find their way home. That's really what this issue is about. They find this spacecraft, they're trying to fly back home, and they get into an asteroid field, and it sets them off course, and they don't know how to get back. Meantime, we get the investigator and the doctor that's been trying to find out what's happened with these animals. They're trying to somehow communicate with the animals because they feel that they're still alive, that they're still out there, but the KBG is on their tails. And we wind up getting to see the doctor try to make a desperate attempt to get in contact with these animals, and she sends out a signal, and she has no idea when this signal is going to get to them, but she wants to let them know that they're looking for them and that they're not a lost cause and that they're not forgotten. So she sends out the signal back in 1961, and you get to see the ping out there, right? And so years pass by, and it goes all the way up until 2023, and basically what happens, or 2024, and basically what happens is you get to see the dog Laika actually get the ping years later. Now, you're probably wondering, how is this possible? How are these apes and this dog still alive since 1960 something? Well, obviously, wherever they're at, they don't age and they're still alive. So I thought that was pretty cool. So maybe this signal now gets our animals home. And how does this story end? Like, where are we going with all this? I don't know, but it just makes for a very unique and different type of storytelling, especially when Andrea Sorrentino is doing most of the storytelling, but there's just enough dialogue in here to keep you going and understand what's going on in the book. This is a must-read book. I love it so much. Primordial issue 4 is definitely a pickup. Book number 2 that we're talking about today, guys, is May's book. This is issue 4, also done by Jeff Lemire. And this story is not only written by him, but the artwork is done by him as well. This book just puts you in a very it's just very simplistic art, but for some reason, the way he draws his characters it just makes you feel like the dude is just so depressed, and it kind of puts you in that depressing mood. Like, you feel so bad for this guy because he's lost his daughter and he's trying to find his daughter, and you can't tell if this is real or if this is fake, and if he's lost his mind, if this is a dream. And it seems like this guy has lost all of reality. I mean, he's lost himself. He's lost now the memory of his daughter, and he's doing whatever he can to try to find her. Supposedly, she's lost in this maze of a city. His neighbor's dog goes on an adventure with him to try to find her, which was really crazy. And also, all of a sudden, he comes across this bum, like he's this protector of this maze, where he has this, I don't know if it's a bull tattoo, and then he is warned not to continue on his journey to find his daughter, Wendy, I think is her name. And he goes anyway, and he goes underground, and he comes across the big bull-like creature that was on the guy's tattoo. This was definitely threw me for a loop, because as he's going through here, you get to see that he's trying to remember any type of memory that has to deal with his daughter. This was so wild, this ending. It's just like he comes across this bull. Now, is this bull the protector of the daughter? Like, I don't know. Like, does he have to beat the big bad boss before he wins the princess? That's what it seemed like at the very end. But the journey through this maze is what really hooked me on this book. Again, this gentleman, he is just will do anything to try to find his daughter. But the big thing of it all is you just don't know what's real and what's fake, what's in his head, what's not in his head. Is he actually going on this journey with this neighbor's dog to find his daughter? I don't know, man. It's just so weird. But again, it's such a page turner, and it's so intriguing to read. That's what's interesting about Jeff Lemire's books. It's like, you don't know what's going to happen with them, and they're so unpredictable, so well written. This is another must read. Don't pass up May's book. If you can't find issues 1, 2, and 3, on the shelves, go out there and wait for the trade. This is a great book, guys. All right, so now we're going to dive into some Marvel here, and we're going to be talking about Wastelanders Wolverine issue 1. So we're revisiting the Old Man Logan series once again, and really what this book accomplishes is for you to go out there and buy that original Old Man Logan trade, because that was one of the best Wolverine stories I have ever read. I definitely recommend it if you want to get the full experience to that. This book was really pretty good. Again, it's only a one-shot. They're doing a bunch of Wastelanders one-shot, so you got an Old Man Logan, you got a Hawkeye one, you got a Black Widow one. So these are going to be actually a lot of fun. And what this story really does accomplish is Wolverine being a father figure to baby Hulk. And I thought that was a cool little one shot. The artwork doesn't maybe blow me out of the water here, but it's still okay. It was kind of funny to see like baby Hulk eat a bunch of Ghost Rider gang's arms, and because he was starving, and we get to see Old Man Logan do battle against like an Iron Man character who is like super gigantic, and the scale of him was enormous. So there was some pretty good action scenes in this book, so that's pretty neat there too. And really what you get out of this book is that Logan has to make a decision what he ultimately wants to do with baby Hulk, because originally he saved him because he felt bad for him. He was such a baby and he was being raised in this horrible family, right? And he's kind of wondering, well, is it too late? Is he too much like Banner where he's going to get angry and he's going to kill people? Well, that was kind of the thought process that was going on through Logan's head. But as the issue continues, you wind up seeing that baby Hulk actually makes the right decision to defend his father figure, which is Logan, and he actually calls him daddy in the issue, and Logan feels better about himself at the end of the day. It was kind of a little heartwarming heartfelt warming type of issue. You were happy for Logan by the time you got to the end of this. This was a happy ending. So I really enjoyed this. Again, if you don't have the extra cash, to spend on these one shots, I totally understand. But again, if there is a recommendation for you, is please, if you never read it, please go out there, buy that Old Man Logan original trade by Mark Millar. It is so well written. So the next Marvel book we're talking about is Hulk issue 2. Now, I wanted to cover this one because after the first issue, a lot of people were left on the fence. Like, I don't know what to expect from Hulk, being that Bruce Banner is like the evil one here. But obviously, Donny Cates is beginning to scratch the surface. He's just starting with this overall huge story that I feel like he's going to tell. And there's obviously something that happened that set Bruce Banner over the edge over in El Paso, Texas, right? And we don't know what happened, but we do know that Hulk is split up in like 3 different ways, right? Like Bruce Banner is piloting like a starship, which is the actual Hulk, and he controls him that way, and then he keeps his mind behind this door, and he fuels him with rage so he can constantly stay in Hulk form, which is actually interesting. And he basically rages him up by stages, like stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Last issue, he did battle against Iron Man to go through this portal, to go through this different dimension, and because he doesn't want to be on Earth anymore, because if he stays on Earth, the heroes are not going to realize what he's going to become. So you wind up him going through these different dimensions. Now, this is obviously Ryan Ottley, what I thought is kind of paying a tribute almost to Invincible. Like, how awesome is that? Like, the artwork looks so good right here, as it's looks like a bunch of Voltrumites on there, or Voltrums, however you want to call their names. That guy right there, which I thought was kind of cool. And it looks like one of the characters when they were battling. But anyway, the artwork overall was pretty good in this book, but this book took me 5 seconds to read. Here's some more Ryan Ottley artwork. I mean, there is definitely some great fight scenes. I love the facial expressions in here. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think this is just a different take on Hulk, and I'm on it for the ride because I'm always up for looking at something different. But it was interesting to see the Hulk do battle against giant-sized Wolverine, as they called it, paying tribute to, maybe their original first meeting. I thought that was kind of a nice little throwback there, or a little bit of a fan service. But story-wise, it accomplished very little. We obviously get to see Hulk go through this wormhole or whatnot, and it's being captured. And Banner is forced to actually juice up Hulk to try to get through this wormhole. And at the end of the day, he kind of doesn't succeed. He winds up getting captured, and he winds up getting captured by an ultimate or alternate version, or maybe older version of Bruce Banner. That's all you got out of this whole issue. Out of 28 pages, you got to just see some fan service of Hulk fighting Wolverine, and you get Bruce Banner at the end. Doesn't really accomplish anything. So if you still have questions, none of them get answered here. You're just like, okay, where are they now? So again, what it looks like when it comes to the Hulk is, it looks like you're going to have to be patient, guys. That's all I'm saying. It just looks like this might be a slow burn story, or it could be that we get this type of huge action in the first or second issue, and then in the third issue you're going to get some more story here. I think if you want to know the outcome, you're just going to have to be patient. That's all I have to say when it comes to Hulk. The next book we're going to be talking about is the Craptacular Spider-Man. Guys, this is issue 81 of Amazing. This was far from amazing. I had low expectations going into this book, and you know what? It met those low expectations. This book was just more filler. I mean, that's all this really is. There's nothing going on in this book that was any different from the last issue. Nothing got accomplished. at all. It's the same old shit. So Ben Reilly basically does battle against this random ass creature by the name of Rhizome. It's just so bad. He gets the same old speech from Marcus about, oh, you know, you got to make the right decisions. You know, we're paying you a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. Follow our rules and do this. And also, you're going to come into contact with Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and you have to talk to him and tell him that, you know, he cannot have our property of the name Spider-Man. It's against the Beyond Corporation's rules. And you're like, okay, fine. So he goes out there. He's all pissed off. He says bye to Janine, which I like Janine. I think she's a pretty cool character. You know, a different version of Mary Jane, basically. And you get to see another little tweak to Ben Reilly's costume, as now he can basically fly. Basically, it takes like rocket fuel to fuel his suit to fly, which I thought was kind of weird. And all of a sudden now you get to see Miles Morales and Spider-Man come face to face, and they just start fighting each other. It's just like, whoa, you're not Spider-Man. And he's like, yes, I am too, Spider-Man. He's like, no, you're not. And Ben Reilly's like, yeah, well, listen to me because I am. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, because you know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, you must be friends with him. And then all of a sudden they start teaming up and they do battle against this freaking F-list character by the name of Rhizome, who's not really a plant-based creature. He just has some tech on his chest that makes him look like that. So they defeat him and they go, hey, wait, you know, Miles Morales goes, wait, you're not going to make me change my name? He's like, nah, forget it, dude. I'm out. And so Marcus gets sent on some disciplinary action, and then Maxine Danger comes face to face with Ben Reilly and threatens him and says, you know, we pay you good money to be part of the Beyond Corporation. We want you to be the best hero that you can possibly be, and that's why we recruited you. So are you able to make the sacrifices? And he's like, well, yeah. And she's like, well, don't ever forget that. And you're like, oh. And so what happens is you have Dr. Octopus that's been causing a little bit of a problem because he's doing some investigation in the Beyond Corporation, and she actually has this vial of, I don't know what it is, right, that is going to stop him or make him something. I don't even know what that jar is. Is it the biome stuff or the rhizome stuff? Is he going to make him a plant creature? I don't know. This book was horrible. This was so bad. This version of Spider-Man right now is called the Craptacular Spider-Man because it just doesn't accomplish anything at all. There's no story progression. It's a complete standstill. You get Ben Reilly just basically being nagged at every single issue, and he's like, okay, whatever. What is going to be the consequences to Ben Reilly when he breaks the final straw? I don't know, but nothing happened with Miles. What a waste. Okay, so now we're moving on to some DC books, and the next book we're talking about is Batgirls issue 1. Totally excited about this book as we get to see the three Batgirls work together, which is Barbara Gordon, Stephanie Brown, and Cassandra Cain. And I'm like, man, this book has a potential to be so good, right? And when I saw the preview, I was a little bit like, oh man, I don't know if this is going to hit the mark for me. And let me just tell you, the best thing about this book for me, honestly, was that new comic book smell. This book was a complete miss, and I am so disappointed. Now, others could have a completely different opinion, and that is totally okay. If you enjoyed it, that is great. This book is written by Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. The artwork is done by Jorge Corona, and this is the same artist that did The Me You Love in the Dark, and it just does not hit the mark. I don't know if it has to do with the inking, the coloring, maybe it's both, but it just doesn't hit the same mark as it did with that book, right? This was so disappointing. I did not like it at all, or it just doesn't fit a Batgirls book, in my opinion. So yeah, definitely not a fan of this artwork for this style of book. So why didn't I like it? Why didn't I like the story? Well, I give you a couple reasons here. First off, the Batgirls, Cassandra and Stephanie, just seemed really young. They're like really young teenagers in this book, and Barbara Gordon is the motherly figure. So instead of them like working as a team, they're like her daughters, and she's like forced to babysit them. And I did not like that whatsoever. Now, maybe this book is geared towards a different audience. Maybe it's geared for a younger audience trying to get into these characters. And you know what? If that's what it's for, then it hits the mark. It kind of, it does its job there. But for older audience or fans of these characters, I think older readers are going to pass on this and drop this. This book was about our Batgirls moving to the hills, and this is obviously a rough neighborhood. What neighborhood isn't rough, though, in Gotham anyway? And right off the bat, you get to see them kind of having these struggles of moving in, right? They're trying to settle in. They don't have food. They come across some thugs where Cassandra beats them up real quick because they stole her favorite bathrobe. And, you know, they're obviously told to be kept in a low profile from Barbara because of what happened in Fear State because of Seer. Okay, so they're going all low tech, staying low undercover and whatnot, which I even still think that's not cool. Like, come on, man, we got to figure out a way to get past what happened. And I know Seer is still out there. She's there right from the beginning, but still, it just like seemed like they're being cowardly, and I don't like that. So what happens is the girls are girls. They break the rules. They go against Barbara's wishes. They go out on the town. They try to do this mission on their own to go fight these thugs that they fought earlier in the issue. And then obviously kind of shit hits the fan. And by the time you wind up going to the end of it, right, you come across against like the Saints. So we still have magistrate characters in here. I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. Like, the cliffhanger was bad, and Barbara gives them scooters to drive. Like, where are we going with this book? It just seems so juvenile, and I think that's the biggest issue that I had. And after reading this, I don't think I'm going to be continuing, and that is sad because I was really looking forward to this book. Obviously, again, it's geared to that younger or audience, and it doesn't have a serious tone to it. So I think I'm out, guys. However, when there's bad, there's always good, right? When there's negative, there's positive. And you want to talk about a Batman book that is hitting it on all cylinders right now. This is Robin and Batman issue 2 of 3, written by, once again, Jeff Lemire. This book is beautifully written. The relationship between Dick and Bruce is outstanding. This is the early days of their relationship when Dick was just becoming Batman's partner as Robin. The artwork in this book, you know what, is a style where it's kind of like almost like sketch or watercolor drawings or coloring or whatnot, and some may be turned off by that, but I feel like, you know what, it fits the tone of the book in many ways because this is a story that took place in the past, and I feel like it's meant to be a little bit, you know, like a memory. That's what this seems like here. So I appreciate kind of the coloring and the style that they're going with here in the art. So what was this story about? Well, this issue continues, again, the story of Dick Grayson about his early days, and you wind up getting to see him get into a fight with his classmates. His principal calls Bruce, and Bruce doesn't come. Alfred comes and picks him up, and you get to see the principal be like, well, why did Bruce Wayne adopt this kid if he's not going to come and pick up his own kid at school? And Alfred's like freaking spot on badass in this issue, and he's like, don't worry about the tabloids, worry about your kids in your school and making sure that they get along, which was really awesome. And that, Alfred is so good in this book. I can't even begin to describe it. But really what this issue was about is this is Dick Grayson's, I think, 12th birthday or 13th birthday, and Batman takes him out on a mission. And he's like, oh, you're going to love this. And he's like, okay, fine. And so this is the first time that he's Robin, and he goes to the Justice League satellite, and he meets all of the Justice League. So he meets Hawkman, Hawkgirl, he meets Superman, Wonder Woman. I mean, this is the best day of this kid's life, right? And he's seeing all these characters for the first time, or all these superheroes for the first time. And then when the Justice League goes out on the mission, obviously the sidekicks have to stay behind. And so he meets all of the sidekicks for the first time. Like, he winds up getting to meet Wally West and Donna Troy, and he winds up getting to meet Garth and just all of these guys. And they're bored. They want to do something. So Robin sits there and goes, you know what, guys? While they're out on a mission, let's go out on our mission. So they sneak out and they go out on to their own missions. And there was some good humor in here because Hawkman was actually sitting back trying to babysit the kids, but they snuck through the security. And you wind up seeing him go to Coast City Bank, stop a robbery, stop a whole, maybe it's a Toy Man thing that was going on in this book as well. And then they sneak back, and Robin winds up going back home with Batman, and Alfred just, when they go back home, Alfred's like, oh, how was the mission, Master Dick? And he's just like, man, this was the greatest birthday of my life. He's like, I got to meet Superman, I got to meet Wonder Woman, and I got to meet all these great people. I got to meet Donna Troy, and she's really great. And you get to see him be that kid for just that moment. Just that moment, he was that child. He comes back and he goes, Robin, mission debriefing. And he goes, what? And Alfred's like, what? And you get to see Dick wind up giving an analyzation to Bruce on everything about the Young Justice League kids, the sidekicks, their weaknesses, their strengths, and how he could defeat them. And Alfred's like, why are you going to take that away from him? Why can't he just be a boy? And Batman just sits there and goes, because I never had it. And Alfred walks away and says, you bastard. And I was like, wow. I'm like, dang, that hurts right there. And then it goes back to like the Killer Croc story part of it at the very end. What a phenomenally written issue. This was so good. By far, right now, I still have like 8 books to read. This is my book of the week. I don't know if there's a book that's going to beat this, but man, this may be only a 3-issue miniseries, but this book is phenomenal. Guys, pick this book up. You're not going to be disappointed. So well done. So there you have it, webheads. There are my books that I have read so far, and I don't know what book is going to top Robin and Batman issue 2 as of yet. I still have about 8 books left to read, but I want to know in the comments below, guys, what were your favorite books that you have read so far this week, and was there a book out there that disappointed you as well? So, of course, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any content from me. And speaking of content, I'm going to leave you my comic book haul and show you all the great things I picked up yesterday on New Comic Book Day. And of course, guys, as always, keep buying, keep collecting, and most importantly, you got to read those comic books. So until next time, guys, this is Mike SpiderSlayer signing off, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.